What's up everyone, it's Lizotte here. The final round of the MPO Jonesboro Open has been concluded. But before we go what happened, disclaimer, there's gonna be spoilers. Also, if you want to see the conclusion, I'm again gonna put a timestamp on the video so you can actually jump to the end of the video where the conclusion is. And then you can jump back here and we're gonna talk about the round. So that way I would spoil you if you want to see it first and then we're gonna talk about it. But let's jump into the final round, and what a final round we had on the MPO side. Let's see what happened. Going into the final round, it was a two-way tie between Calvin Heimburg and Eagle McMahon. And after the final round, Calvin Heimburg sits on top of everyone as a lonely winner. We didn't need playoff like in the FPO side because the final round was concluded on hole 18. Unfortunately, Eagle McMahon had some troubles in the hole 18 and took a triple bogey and dropped all the way to tied second. But congratulations, Calvin Heimburg. He just performed the best, like the most consistent, even though the last round wasn't as good as the first two rounds were. But again, the conditions in the last rounds were really tricky because the winds were swirling all around. If you watch the full round, you see that a lot of people were suffering and struggling with the wind because it was just gusts of wind coming from all directions at the same time. But Calvin Heimburg managed to control the weather and the conditions the better, and that's the reason why Calvin Heimburg is your winner. Tied for second place, as I stated, is Eagle McMahon, who played an awesome tournament. Unfortunately, the last round, the last hole of the tournament was the deciding factor, and one bad shot cost Eagle McMahon a possible playoff and a possible win. But Eagle McMahon played an awesome tournament as well as Calvin Heimburg. The last round for Eagle was also tough because of the weather conditions, but congratulations Eagle, that was a great placement. Ben Callaway and Isaac Robinson also tied for second. Isaac Robinson apparently is riding really high from the previous tournament win and just performed really well under the conditions that were in the last round, and that's the reason why Isaac is sitting on the second place. Congratulations Isaac. And Ben Callaway played an awesome tournament. Again, as I always state, it's great to see people that you don't usually see in the top being in the top, and that's the reason why I enjoy seeing Ben Callaway there. And Ben Callaway also, I watched the whole last round and I saw some glimpses of Ben Callaway's throwing, and I have to say that he controlled the wind pretty well. Unfortunately, James Conrad had a bad last round, coming from that -17, that almost perfect second round. And so it was a bit of a disappointment that James Conrad only threw -1 on the last round. But anyone who shot like above -5 can be really happy because the conditions were really tough. So if you shot over -5, you can be happy about it. As I've said many times before, Jonesboro is one of my favorite courses and I just enjoy the layout of the whole course, so it was really fun to watch. And we had a tight competition between Calvin and Eagle throughout the tournament. They were tied throughout the tournament up until the last hole, and unfortunately the last hole was the deciding factor. I would have wanted to see a playoff, but then again, if you want to win or get into playoffs, you need to hit those shots, and unfortunately the shot Eagle took was the same shot he took in the previous two rounds, so it was just bad luck this time. But you don't win tournaments with luck. If you didn't jump to the conclusion in the beginning of the video, the conclusion will come after these few words, and then there's gonna be an interview of Calvin Heimburg. Subscribe, hit the bell notification button, like the video and comment down below what you thought about Jonesboro. Is Jonesboro too soft, as many pro players have stated? And what should be the course be like if Jonesboro is considered to be soft? What is considered to be too hard? Thanks for watching, see you guys on the next one.
And welcome back. Our 54th hole of competition. The question is, will be our final hole?
We would expect Eagle to go over the top. Calvin has to hit this gap and push way up the fairway to have birdie be in play.
And he has done it so well in the past.
Oh.
OMG. There's Brian right there. Brian, what's the angle for Heimburg?
It's decent. It's definitely decent. He has the hyzer up to the basket.
Wow, he got through. So fortunate.
We'll see how McMahon responds.
McMahon has birdied this hole in rounds 1 and 2. Heimburg went birdie in round 1, par in round 2.
We heard wood. Brian, tell us about what you're seeing for Eagle.
I'm walking up to it right now. I don't think it's safe. I'm walking up to it right now. Let's see. I'll get back to you. He's out. He's actually out of bounds. Wow.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, there is an OB that runs the right side the entirety of this hole. McMahon was low right out of his hand, and I believe he has received the red flag from the spotters.
And depending on where he gets for a spot, he may have absolutely no chance.
It's impossible to get an accurate spot, to be completely honest with you. Because of the way the OB's line runs here, really tough to give him an accurate spot, but they're going to have to do their best.
It might not even matter. I mean, no matter where he gets spotted, par is probably gone out the window.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's where I was. The only reason I'm not completely writing it off is because if somehow Calvin makes a crazy mistake, goes out of bounds on a second or a third shot, while trying to get up the fairway. But
Yeah.
If we could pull up the course map, I think it would just be critical to see the way the out of bounds just jets off to the right for the player's perspective, because that's where he went out of bounds. And Calvin all helping out exactly what they should do as a group.
Ryan, give us your assessment as they're lining this up. What exactly is Eagle going to be looking at?
He's going to have to send one to outer space, Terry. I'm just going to be somewhat sarcastic,
And he's
but
not doing
actually
it.
kind of serious.
He's playing. He's got a forehand lined up. It looks like so. He would in that case there's nothing for him, and he'd be playing for second place. Absolutely.
He's roughly 600 feet away from the basket. I guess this is just take some medicine and know that you just didn't execute that shot, unfortunately.
I mean, it's going to be hard to even save single bogey,
Agreed.
and he's probably still up before Calvin.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't park that, I mean, then Calvin can win with bogey.
Just to put it out there, Calvin Heimburg sitting at 31. McMahon, if he takes a bogey, moves down to 30, of course. If he takes the double, he goes to 29 under. He would still be one clear. You'd have solo second place over Ben Callaway and Isaac Robinson. And also, if Calvin wins, he would be the second player to win the same DGPT Elite Series for a third time. The only other person that's done that right now is Ricky Wysocki, who's got 3 Ledgestone titles to his name.
Among the men, we should clarify.
Yes.
That's impressive. And the stat you brought up at the beginning of the very first round is that Calvin Heimburg has spent more weeks as a Disc Golf Pro Tour #1 player than any other player by a wide margin.
Yes.
That includes over Mcbeth. That includes over Wysocki, Dickerson, Buhr, all of those players. Calvin Heimburg has proven to be the most consistent player since 2020 on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and he's about to attach his name to a third title here at Jonesboro. Remember, Calvin's in a pretty good spot. He can play it pretty safe and get a relatively easy par. Still an outside chance for McMahon to make this.
The difficulty with this shot is pulling it left enough to get back in bounds.
And back up the hill.
From this far back, the easy mistake to make here is to power it, and it stays too straight, and it never finds inbounds again. Because you don't have unlimited height to work with. Is he going over?
Looks like it.
Then in that case, you would have unlimited height.
Yes.
Brian was calling for the outer space shot.
No, he's going under.
Yeah.
Lots of hyzer.
Trying to skip it.
That's what I'm talking about. Stay way out of bounds.
And as we were just talking, that might bring Ben Callaway and Isaac Robinson into play.
It did.
For sure.
Oh, it did. It's gonna. I think quick math. It's gonna be a 3-way tie.
Yep. I would agree with you on that one. I also want to throw out to all of the people that felt like this course was soft all afternoon yesterday out there in the world. Calvin Heimburg, if he goes on to par, will win this tournament with a final round 5 under. You tell me that course is soft.
And he's going to win by
a
3.
considerable amount.
If you would have told me at the Open that a Calvin 3 under could get it done, I would not have believed it.
Nope. You would have made a lot of money if you had made that bet. But this course is not easy, and it never has been. It's just they're the best players in the world.
James Conrad yesterday, 17 under. Today, currently sitting at 1 under.
Wow.
Insane.
I mean, it's just, I've said this before, but just imagine the challenge of designing a course that is difficult for these guys, but still fun and interesting for the fans, even on a windy day.
Yep.
And now take all the wind away. Of course, they're going to shred it, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's not that easy to make a course that works in dead calm and in 25-mile-an-hour wind.
And I think that's exactly what we have. I really do. I believe that in this course. I love the stroke separation in the final few holes. Look at what Calvin's going to have done. He's going to have bogeyed the easiest hole in the course. Only 8 players bogeyed it on 15. He comes back with the hero eagle on 16. One of only 4 players to eagle that hole today. They push on 17 and then disaster on 18 for Eagle McMahon. But still, Calvin just continued to execute. He continued to put pressure on Eagle McMahon.
So we would expect to see McMahon up and down for a double bogey 7, triple bogey 7, which would drop him into that second place tie.
Yeah, so now the second place podium position just got a little bit more
Crowded?
Yeah, yeah. I was looking for the right word. Thank you, Terry.
And Calvin has a simple shot to secure his 3rd Jonesboro Open title.
And he's going to expand his tour points lead. That's now his 2nd Pro Tour this year. He has 1 Silver Series. He's already 100 points ahead of Gannon Buhr. He's going to expand that by probably roughly 30, 25 points, somewhere in there.
Corey Ellis has this left for par. He sits at 27 under. Keep a few extra dollars in his pocket if he can walk away with solo 5th place, which is where he's sitting. Just not Corey's day on the green, which I feel like I've maybe said once now in my announcing career. James Conrad is in. He's going to be at 26 under, along with Kyle Klein and Corey Ellis.
Nice tournament from James, and again, thanks for the show yesterday.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Ellis
nice
is in.
Nice tournament for Eagle as well.
And your 2023 Jonesboro Open champion for the 3rd time, Calvin Heimburg, wins in Arkansas.
Not 2-time, 3-time. Play it against sports. Jonesboro Open presented by Prodigy champion, Calvin Heimburg.
Joined here by the champion, 3-time Jonesboro Open champion, that is Calvin. What a wild final day. The wind picked up finally and started swirling all over the place.
Yep.
Did you think 5 under was enough to take down a victory here?
If you would have told me that this morning, definitely not. But no one really got going very quick at all. It was very windy. It made putting pretty difficult. But yeah, I mean, it did end up winning. I mean, Eagle and I were tied going in the last hole, and you know, I got to play pretty conservative after, you know, he was OB off the tee. So, yeah, definitely didn't think 5 under would do it, but it did do it today. I don't know. Pretty thankful for it. I mean, it kind of seemed like some of my aggressive play early and late might have bit me, but in the end it didn't.
Well, let's actually jump ahead to 15. Eagle lays up a long putt. You go for it, roll away, take a big number, and a stroke swing in that hole. What were you thinking lining up that putt? Were you ever thinking about laying it up like Eagle?
Not really. I mean, I know the rollaway is a possibility, but my game, it really wasn't too windy at that point in my mind, and I was feeling pretty confident. So, and my game plan coming into the day was be aggressive and kind of like pedal to the metal. So I saw that as an opportunity to take one. I did lose one, but yeah, I don't know. I definitely came into the day thinking play aggressive, and I stuck to that all day, whether it bit me or not.
Well, it worked for you on 16, and that was a spectacular hole where the entire crowd was zoned in and now knew it was between you and Eagle. Can you just walk us through that entire hole? That was wild.
Yeah, kind of a wind in our face, maybe a little head crosswind on the hole. You know, we both threw drives pretty far down there. He was a little more right than me, chose to lay up, did a pretty poor job at it, but he did end up getting up and down. But you know, I was up there, I knew I needed to make up a stroke, and so I was definitely going over the water. Through my Vela, the Millennium Vela, and was able to kind of stall it out, get myself a circle 2 look, which was kind of best case scenario from where I was without, you know, playing too aggressive, getting too close to those trees, and possibly just giving the tournament completely away. And I was able to catch the putt from up there, tie it up, and, you know, yeah, eventually won the tournament.
Well, final drive solidified it for you on 18. Eagle obviously going out of bounds way early. Any nerves stepping up to one of the most daunting tee shots on the course, and obviously it being the last one?
Not really any nerves. You know, I was in that same position last year, and there was 3 people tied going into the last hole. I really didn't throw that tee shot the way I wanted to. It's supposed to come out with hyzer and then flip. I threw it flat. Same thing I did yesterday. Ended up in a pretty similar position. Really fortunate that it, you know, kind of fought through some branches and gave me a really easy par on the hole. But yeah, no real nerves there. Just wish I would have executed my shot a little better.
Definitely. Well, congratulations, Calvin. Do you have any final words for the fans who have been rooting for you all week?
Thanks for supporting me, and yeah, I mean, Jonesboro seems to be, you know, like a second home. I seem to do really well here, so I'm glad I could come out here and win again.
Well, congratulations. We'll see you out there in California.